Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today is Friday, and it's the second week of June. It's just about the beginning of summer, just a couple days away. And all kind of interesting things are happening this week. But there's some great fishing going on. I'll talk about that in just a second. But first, I want to show you. I've fixed my airboat. It's 100% now. Look, I got power poles. Look, we were talking about that windy day. I was out doing a test run on Three Forks, and I didn't have a power pole system, and I was blowing around a lot. Look at this. Watch this. Boom, power poles now. And now I can stop whenever the wind blows and put the trolling motor back and put the power poles back up. And that's just one of the really great things about this airboat. The other thing is over here. I just want to show you what's going on with the that's a power pole system, and also there's a power pole move trolling motor system that I have also on my Z21, my big nitro boat, and that's been a godsend. But now I got it installed on the airboat. Let me just show you how it works. It's so cool. It's so cool. This makes this airboat just phenomenal. First of all, it's easy to deploy. It's a spring-loaded kind of a light system. It's 35% lighter than a regular trolling motor, so I can pull it up pretty much with one hand and drop it down with one hand. Okay, now that's the first thing. Okay, the second thing is it's got remote control. You saw me put the power poles up and down. Y'all can see it. Watch how I steer it. I can steer it with just this pedal. It's not this pedal. I have a pedal here too. This is just a bob, a little neck bob, and I can turn it off and on. Okay, I can go up in speed or down in speed. I can shut it off. And here's the neat thing about this thing. Come over here, I'll show you what's going on here. This little anchor that's on this little fob means that this is spot lock. And what that is if I'm out in deep water and I hit the spot lock, the trolling motor now, because of the GPS signals, lock it in one spot, and it sits right in that one spot. So that's one really big deal about this trolling motor. The trolling motor is just a phenomenal trolling motor. But being 35% lighter, it has a titanium shaft here, and it's also 35% stronger. It has instead of having like 110 or 112 pounds of thrust, which most trolling motors have, some of the big ones, this has 130, 140 pounds of thrust. Now, because of all that thrust, I didn't need to have a 36-volt system. The beautiful thing about the Move trolling motor is that it's a 36-volt when I have it on my Z21. It's a 36-volt system. On this airboat, I have a 24-volt system. It doesn't make any difference. I now hook this thing up with 24-volt. Instead of having 140 pounds of power, I got like 100 pounds of power, but still, that's still as much as the regular trolling motors have with 36-volt. So I have plenty of power, 100 pounds of thrust, basically, with just 24 volts. Okay, the trolling motor is still on, so I hit the trolling motor off. Now, here's the other thing that's really cool. Look at this. On this foot pedal, this is a foot pedal that also works. And I have the foot pedal there to use if I want. Okay, I can steer it just like this with the foot pedal. And that's really great. Or I can turn it off and on. And then now here's the neat thing about this boat. I'll have clients, and I'll be out on Three Forks, for example, or out on Keensville, and I'll have my people sitting on this ice chest, or they'll be just standing there. And I'll tell them, I say, okay, John, throw over by those hyacinths to the left, and I can steer the boat to the left. I can steer it to the left. I can sit here. And if the wind gets to blowing, I can say to Sam over here, I said, Sam's here, let me stop the boat real quick. I'm going to drop the power poles. I drop the power poles. They're down. The power poles are down. Okay, now throw over there. Okay, throw over there. And so now I have complete control, and I don't have to be up front. You see, that's the beautiful thing about this system. As a guide, I want my clients up front. They'll have the first cast. They'll be able to throw at all the good targets, and I'll be able to point them out better because I'm up kind of high anyhow, or I can sit higher even yet. And I can tell them where to throw and everything. And occasionally I'll make a cast or two. But anyway, not only can I fish lures, but this boat's set up for shiners as well. I can also shiner fish. So, and I got a little bit of everything. So anyway, that's kind of the key to this whole thing. Now, I'm going to show you what else is going on, because So right now, I'll leave the trolling motor down. Let me just talk about what happened on the fishing this week. That was kind of interesting. Had really good fishing experiences this week. What we had, I went to Lake Okeechobee. Now, I'm not doing as well on Okeechobee as I am on Headwaters. You know, Okeechobee's off a little bit, but it's still I'm catching fish. It's not too bad. It's just not as good as Headwaters. Okay, the biggest surprise was the spinnerbait. Come over to this pond. I'm going to show you what the deal is. In the meantime, we're going to go buy my Z21, and this is my boat that I can now take that move trolling motor and switch it in just a few seconds to this boat or back to this boat. Okay, that's one thing. Now you notice how clean and nice this car looks? And that's because I'm a spokesperson for O'Reilly, and I'm also a spokesperson for Bass Pro Shop. And what I do on occasion, and almost every week, I go by the different stores, and I'll stop out front with my rig, and I'll talk about their great products, and I'll be working. But they want a clean boat. Now I'm green. If you know what green is I use a product to clean my rigs with. Its green product. It's called Booyah Clean, and the deal is it's a green product, and it's the only product on the market that the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, EPA has certified for direct release. I can now take the Booyah and wash it, this boat or car, right at the launch ramp, and direct release it legally. Legally direct release, not that I do, but I could. The effluents from the washing right into the water. I'm not breaking the law. You would be breaking the law if you use soap. You would be breaking the law if you used Spinnerbait. You would, or bleach or something like that. You'd be breaking the law, and you'd probably get arrested for the direct release. It's not legal. So anyway, I'm a green guy. So that's a whole big deal. Okay, let's come over to the pond and talk about a few things. This boat here is, again, it's clean and dandy and ready to go, and it's a beautiful boat, 70-mile-an-hour boat, just super good. Okay, we're gonna come over to this pond. I'm gonna show you a little bit of a surprising thing. I hadn't been using spinnerbaits very much, but I went out on Lake Okeechobee, and just come in a little closer. I'll show you what I'm doing. On Lake Okeechobee, we had a situation. There's a lot of Kissimmee grass, or kind of joint grass. It sticks up out of the water. There's reefs out in the middle with it. All around the North Shore and all around most of the lake, there's this joint grass that sticks up out of the water a couple feet. And there's thousands of acres of it. And I'm using a 3/8 of an ounce spinnerbait. In this case, it's got a gold blade and a silver blade, a number 4 silver. And basically, I'm waking it. And watch this. Jimmy Houston is really famous for this. Watch the wake I create with this bait. Throw it out there. Watch the wake. I put it on top. Get it on top. See the wake? See the wake? See the wake? That's a wake. Those bass, when you're making a wake like that, it's right on the top. Those bass can go crazy. That's a big deal. So that's one thing that was kind of a big surprise, because I got to throw in this particular half-ounce model. And now, by the way, Jimmy, I talk about Jimmy Houston. He's the #1 spinnerbait fisherman in the world. Jimmy has just done a new thing, and that is he's got this new Redman spinnerbait that he had back in the 70s, and he sold it back in 1970 or maybe 69, and forever, and then they quit selling it. But now Lucky Strike is a company that has now taken this spinnerbait, and and they've just resurrected it. So it's the Redman spinnerbait. So I've been using it some. It's a really great lure. Well, another great lure is this Jackhammer. Okay, the Jackhammer. How many times have you heard me talk about this Jackhammer Chatterbait? Okay, the Jackhammer Chatterbait, let me just tell you a little bit about it. First of all, Brett Height, who invented it, he's a good friend of mine. This is the half-ounce model. This is the Jackhammer series. It's a Golden Shiner or something. I can't remember what it is. And I'm running it on braid. And the reason why I run it on braid, because I'm fishing Okeechobee, and I'm fishing places where there's heavy grass and milfoil and weeds. Brett, a lot of his wins, for example, it was in open water at Lake Seminole and even open water at Lake Okeechobee. Brett has won 4 or 5 major tournaments on the Jackhammer series, but he usually uses 17-pound test fluorocarbon line. And I'm not using 17 because I'm fishing the heavy cover. But again, with the Jackhammer series, but I'm just making a long cast. I mean, way long. Look how far I could throw that thing a mile. I could just run it along. I'm holding the rod up at it because this is just a pond. There's no bass in it really. I'm just reeling it along. Okay. And boom, boom, boom. That's been working. Now, whenever I throw a spinnerbait or anything like that, I always have a worm backup. I don't have my worm rod with me. Worm's in the boat. But the other thing that I'm doing right now, and this is the summertime, and that is the frog. You usually hear me talking about the black spro frog. This happens to be a white spro frog, but it's the same kind of deal. I've taken this thing and modified it. Let me just show you this hook a little bit. I've taken the old 3/0 hook out, and I put a larger 4/0 hook in here. So giving it more. You notice it sticks out a little bit farther. It's not exactly as weedless as the 3/0 because it's a little bit of a gap there. But anyway, it's again 50-pound braid. Now I'm fishing this not exactly in open water, but here's the deal with the frog. Let me just show you what it's doing. I'm gonna make a little short cast to show you something. Make a little short cast right there. I can walk that frog. Now watch it go back and forth. Back. See it? See how it's going? See how it's going? It's walking. It's walking. It's walking. It's walking. So when I make a long cast, now that's just to show you that it walks. But when I make a long cast, I'll throw it way out there. Boom. I usually let it sit. Now here's the thing about frog fishing that I like to do. I like to sit till all the ripples kind of died away, and then I make the first couple little twitches real slow and easy. This isn't a pond where there's any bass. It's just a pond. But I'm just switching it slow and easy. And once I twitch it a couple times and do a couple little twitches, that they'll usually bite it then. But I got a long ways to go, so I'll walk it back. So now that I'm coming back with it, see how I'm walking the dog? It's like is there a spook? It's like any kind of bait that I'm just walking back and forth. But anyway, that's been working good. And by the way, this last week, I mentioned that Lake Okeechobee was really on fire last month with the full moon of May. Well, and they had a bunch of 30-pound stringers. Well, this month, the full moon of June just was last week. And it was somewhat of a bite. And Gary Milicevic, my big buddy, he only had 19 pounds. He usually catches 25 or 30 pounds. And but the point is, they weren't quite as many big fish hitting the frog. It was kind of I guess the frog bite was kind of over with that spawn being over. But anyway, the jig worked. It was, and I haven't shown you the Medlock jig, but that's another big combination of lures. But right now, I'm getting ready to do a lot of guide work on headwaters. And I start off in the morning with my guide parties. I start off usually with topwater, with the frog, with the devil horse, and with the worm. Using wacky worms, using just light tackle. We catch plenty of fish, and then I go to shiners and try to catch that big 6 or 8 or 10-pound bass. It's been working real good. Hey, listen, if you want more information on my guide services, contact judym at fishingwithrolandmartin.com, and we can set you up on a trip. It's good fishing now in the summer. Everything's fine. Trying to get things going. Headwaters is alive and well, and there's a bunch of lakes over here in the St. Johns Marsh I use with my airboat, big old bass as well. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. Hit that likes button. All these people love a likes. So give me that likes, and we'll see you again soon.